Now we will discuss the structure of tetrasporangiate anther. In brief, we will revise. Androecium, it is the first essential role. It is the main male reproductive part. The individual unit of the anther, androecium, is called as stamens or microsporophylls. A typical stamen shows three distinct parts: the lower sterile part called filament, upper fertile part called anther, and middle part connecting filament to the anther is called connective. Each anther is the main fertile part of the stamen, which possesses two lobes called as anther lobes. Both these lobes are connected by a connective. The anther lobe is composed of a pair of sacs called as pollen sacs or pollen chambers. Each pollen sac or a chamber bears pollens or microspores, and so these sacs are called as microsporangia. Look into the figure. Long filament, anther lobes, and pollen sacs are clear. The mature anther wall shows following four layers: epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, and tapetum. The first, that is the epidermis. It is the outermost wall layer of the anther. It consists of stretched and flattened cells. Sometimes the cells are highly lignified or cutinized. Then look into the figure. Outermost layer, single uniseriate layer was there, and it is nothing but the epidermis. Then next to the epidermis, it is the endothecium. It is subepidermal layer. It is a single layered parenchymatous tissue. The cells are radially arranged and are elongated and attain a maximum elongation during maturity of the pollen grain. So, next to the epidermis, single layered structure, that is nothing but the endothecium. The wall of the endothecium cells are provided with characteristic fibrous thickening bands. They are with starch grains. These cells are hygroscopic in nature. They play a very important role in the dehiscence of the anthers. The endothecium is not developed all around the microsporangium as a continuous layer. They produces thin walled strip along the line of dehiscence called as stomium. Look here. Stomium is very clear, and it is a line of dehiscence, and through this line of dehiscence pollen grains get dispersed. So endothecium helps in the dehiscence of the pollen grains. Then middle layer. Next to the endothecium, there may be 1 to 3 layers of cells. They form a middle layer. These cells degenerates completely during the pollen mother cell meiosis. The middle layer stores starch, which is utilized as the food by pollen mother cells during the development. So next to the endothecium, there is a 2 to 3 layered middle layer is there. Outermost epidermis, then endothecium, and then middle layer. Then next, that is the tapetum. This tapetum, it is the innermost layer of the anther. It is a single layered. It is located between the sporogenous tissue and the anther wall. The cells are large and they are centripetally extended with cytoplasm and nuclei. The cells are bigger and normally have more than one nucleus per cell. As the sporogenous cells undergo mitosis, the nuclei of the tapetal cells also divide. Sometimes this mitosis is not normal, due to which many cells of the mature tapetum become multinucleated. Sometimes polyploidy also be seen. The unusually large nuclear constitution of the tapetum helps it in providing nutrients and regulatory molecules to the forming pollen grains. Tapetum is important for the nutrition and development of the pollen grains and making the exine of the pollen. It is a source of precursor for the pollen coat. So, next to this, there is a tapetum. Tapetum, they are innermost layer, centripetally oriented cells, dense cytoplasm, and polyploidy condition. That means more than one or two nuclei. More than two nuclei are there, multinucleated, n number, 2n number, 3n number, sometimes 4n number is also seen. So, they are polyploidy condition is seen, and they produces nutrition to the developing pollen grains. So, next time we will discuss the development and the structure of the pollen grain. Thank you.